Listen, anytime, any place, anywhere, I'll fight you in your back garden. Like a dumb Klitschko, I'll beat you, you bum. You're a bum.
I want to unify. Is he up for the challenge? Like I said, I declare war. You know, this is not a battle, this is war because I was born.
Why am I sitting there like a spare dick anyway? While you are sitting in your mum's spare rooms, just tickling your bollocks.
Come to see me, baby. No more hiding, no more ducking, no more dodging, no more excuses. Let's make the fight happen. Let's see who's the best. I know I'm the best. Are you up for the test?
I'm through. Hey, put somebody else up and give me an interview. What are you talking about? What are you never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit. I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
Negative. I'm good. I beat Polly. I left with his belt and his girl.
Fucking was too fast. But it wasn't so much about, it was just that he was so fucking fast. Fast.
Amazingly fast.
Fucking amazingly fast. I was like, I thought Freddie was in there fucking hitting me too. So.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube. Obviously, podcast from iTunes, Spotify, radio, etc. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Solo Dolo. Rob is in the chat, but he told me he didn't want to be on the show today. He was too busy, and he didn't want the smoke, guys. And like that's what it. Come on, we know what it is. He didn't want to come in here and argue about Wilder numbers and AJ fight. It's fine. Rob, I understand, Clan Hearn has to keep their mouth shut on this topic. I get it. You're on a NDA. It's totally understandable, man. But digressing, we're going to talk about a lot of boxing topics because even though there's not a lot out there, I have somehow scrounged up enough topics for us to have a full show. So it should be fun. Call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers, Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. Jay saying Rob too busy, but can in the chat for 2 hours. Yes, Jay, trust me, I don't understand. He said he was too busy, yet he's not on the show. It's okay. He has the link too, guys. Like he can come here at any point. It's fine. He has some family stuff, guys, but I'm gonna make jokes regardless, and he's still gonna get mad because of these jokes. So it's completely worth it. But digressing. Let's get to these topics because obviously we're going to talk about Wilder viewership numbers, Showtime viewership numbers specifically, the context of that, and really in the modern age and whether these numbers drastically matter nowadays. Let's be honest. We're going to talk a little bit about the rumors of the WME, the Endeavor sale or sort of buyout of PBC in a sense, and we're going to go a little bit in depth on that. Not full on in depth. Shout out to Kurt Emhoff and John Nash, Boxing Esquire, did the podcast. Check out on SoundCloud. I put the link in the live chat. It'll be there. And when I get to that part of the show, I'll put it again in the live chat. But really interesting stuff that we can sort of dive into. Again, briefly. Zulu, you're tripping in the chat. Don't even joke about that. That's a lie. You know it. Adelaide Bird over there. But there's some interesting things, again, to gather from the little bit of info we have. Again, how unlikely anything is going to happen in the immediate future. But digressing from that, should be fun. I can't wait to dive into that. I want to get into it more when I have like Fu and Rob on the show just because that's one of those topics I want to sort of discuss in-depthly with someone that, especially like Fu, who has a good knowledge of collective bargaining, unionization, sort of those ideas, because those ideas come up with what Endeavor is trying to do. But digressing. Plus, AJ Undercard is pretty much set in stone with Callum Smith fighting Hassan Nadam. In a sort of really obviously quick fight. I mean, the fight's in a week or 2 weeks, and they just made this fight. I bet they had it on paper a while ago, but short notice for us. But digressing, should be a fun card. Cannot wait to dive into that one as well. But like I said, call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers call in on Skype, Mixed Combat Radio, patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. $1 a month gets you extra content every week. And plus, it just helps. All the money goes towards the show. All the money goes towards getting us towards press events, fights, getting interviews. And the more funds we have, the more capital we have, the more content we can deliver you guys and take time out of our other jobs. But digressing from that, like I said, let's get to the news of the day. It was first reported, I think, by Showbuzz and then sort of by way of Jed Goodman, saying the Showtime boxing numbers for the Wilder Breazeale main event did 791,000 views. That number is true, but to put into some more context, Keith Idek has come out and said the Wilder fight peaked at 990,000 viewers, and when you include the streaming numbers for Showtime, specifically for the live numbers, not like the CBS video, not anything like that, just Showtime live viewers. If you include streaming for Showtime Anytime and sort of their terrestrial numbers. And for one of the Showtime Anytime numbers, I do like that I'm included here. And this is Ben Clark. It wasn't free TV. This is premium cable. This costs around $12-15 a month to have. By the way, it's not free TV. I know that's a common misconception. And again, these are obviously not good numbers. Like, these are probably one of the lowest rated fights for Deontay Wilder in his title reign, especially in the Showtime stretch of it. Because obviously there's fights on Fox or NBC, something like that. Those are going to dwarf these because that is free TV. This isn't. However, he has done historically at least his peaks. His peaks have always done over 1 million. And that is rather unfortunate that this fight didn't. However, again, in context, in today's age, does this number even matter? Because the knockout went viral. Post-fight, it went viral. Not only did the CBS Twitter video have over 10 million views, the YouTube video had over 1 million views. Sky Sports YouTube video had over 1 million views. I saw other social media platforms that put on Instagram, put on other stages, and it was getting millions and millions of views. So regardless of this poor viewership for the live rating, the knockout went viral. And in today's age, that kind of helps. So it's one of those things where I don't know if this number is innately bad, because in the full context of the situation, the event, or at least the knockout, did register to casuals. It did. There aren't that many hardcore fans on social media that are paying attention to this. There just aren't. So, again, with the full context of the numbers, all the numbers on that we have to our sort of availability here, I think the event did well. It was a success. However, in an isolated case, the Showtime viewership was poor. This was mediocre. And that's unfortunate. Ben Clark saying most knockouts go viral, though. No, they don't, Ben. No, they don't. Please show other knockouts of recent times that have that much of a viewership. Show me any other knockout that has 10 million views within 24 hours. Please. Like, we can't ignore that. So, no, not all knockouts go viral. That just is not true. At all. Like, that's such an absurd statement. Again, for someone that thought this was free TV, I'm not surprised that you made such an absurd statement. Adding to this, sort of for the brand of Wilder, the Showtime All Access series for Wilder Fury did win an Emmy. Good for them. Obviously, that's good for Showtime overall. I would assume the Wu-Tang documentary is also going to net them an Emmy at some point because that thing was insane. Go check that out if you're a Showtime subscriber. Definitely worth it. And also just want to add this so we can just get rid of AJ topics and Wilder topics out of the way. Joshua's manager came out today or recently and said that the Deontay Wilder deal were involved 2 fights. Kind of assumed that there's going to be a rematch clause, so nothing out of the norm here. Again, the context of these numbers, are they good? Are they bad? Yes, this even the viewership with the total streaming, that's not a great viewership. It did less than Stavern rematch. It did obviously less than the Ortiz fight. So it's not great. However, the fight itself, post-fight, went far beyond the reach and exposure of Showtime because it went truly viral. And on top of that, the brand of Wilder is still climbing. And, that's how it is. Ben, you don't know what you're talking about. Please stop talking in the chat. You don't know what you're talking about. Please. You thought it was free television. Shut the fuck up, learn something, and then educate yourself. Come back here. Moving on, before we get to that AJ undercard, because, again, we're going to talk about AJ in a sense for there. I do want to talk about this PBC sort of buyout, and we're going to have to sort of break this down a little bit to better explain it. And, again, go check out the podcast, the Boxing Esquire podcast with Kurt Emhoff and John Nash. They're the ones that broke this down in depth. I really trust these guys when it comes to their credibility, what they know, their sources in the industry. These are guys you can trust. And they basically said to the point that the buyout of PBC by WME, and WME, Willius Morris, Endeavor are the owners, the majority owners of the UFC. For those that don't know, that's why this has been sort of talked about as UFC buying out PBC. That's not really innately true. It's WME buying out PBC, or at least part of PBC. They allege that, and they hear from multiple sources different things. One thing they hear is that the buyout will only be Waddell and Reed's portion of Heyman Sports LLC and PBC, and not Heyman individually, not PBC as a whole, just Waddell and Reed, and then become basically a majority owner or at least investor or stakeholder of those companies. The other thing they heard was a complete buyout, Heyman and all. They were going to just take it over from the ground up. What they sort of alluded to was more of the first. It's more of the former. Was that it was purely more of a buyout of Waddell and Reed's investment, and then to become the majority investors of PBC and Heyman Sports LLC. And Heyman actually would stay on and run the company through Heyman Sports LLC still. I thought that was a really interesting point. On top of that, WME, William Morris Endeavor, is also looking into Top Rank. They did say, however, that there will be no sale, no buyout this year. WME is looking to do an IPO this year, and that's I forget the exact acronym, but basically they go public. They're a private company, and they're basically go public for a period of time to get a sort of investment of funds from stock buyers, because they would in that sense, going public would put your company on the stock market exchange, for those that don't know. And I think this is very interesting because, again, nothing is set in stone. Nothing's going to happen this year, so it's a far-off concept that we don't have to really delve too deeply in. However, this is interesting that WME is looking to sort of monopolize combat sports in some aspect, and PBC is the biggest, air quotes, promotional company in boxing. It has the deepest roster. It's probably worth the most as well. So it makes complete sense if you're WME that PBC would be a priority for you. On top of that, because they would lose structure, it might be easier to tap into and become the main investor of. And then to have this as a, sort of your portfolio after you become a publicly traded company. Again, so many moving parts. Check out that podcast. I'll post the link again in the chat for those that want to check it out. I highly recommend it. I haven't finished it yet, but the bit I have, I've listened to over 40 minutes of it. It was great. And again, Kurt, he's awesome. John is a fucking legend in the sport. Listen to this podcast. They will explain it better than I can. And plus, like I said, this is a thing that's not going to happen in the immediacy, so we can sort of start talking about it in depthly and do research on it. All of us can, and that's a great thing to do, like to have time to do the research and to sort of investigate it. Quick things in the chat. Tank Commander Zulu, go check out his channel. Zulu's the man. Saying, yo, Matt, what's your opinion on AJ Ruiz having no press conference so far? Good or bad? I mean, the event already sold in terms of ticket sales. I think they're obviously going to have a fight week press conference, but it's 2 weeks out. They wait for fight week. I think they sort of missed the boat to have like an emergency press conference to announce that fight. I don't think they really needed it, to be honest, because, again, they already sold most of the tickets. You don't really need a presser in New York to push for ticket sales because you already have the ticket sales. And you can just wait for fight week because you're going to have it scheduled. I would assume AJ's already in the UK training at that time, so you have to then fly him out mid-camp. I would assume AJ doesn't want to do that, and I don't blame him. So, no, I don't blame them for not having a presser, and I completely understand why they don't have one as well. What else? Anything good in the chat? No. Nothing's seeming. What else? Big Nick saying, Matt, on one today. Big Nick, call in, man. Skype. You feel a little froggy there.
I want smoke.
Anytime, bro. Anytime. Mixed Combat Radio on Skype. Don't worry about it. If you want to get out of the chat, get some gumption, you can have this debate. But moving on, anything else in that thing? No, that was sort of the major points. Buyout of Waddell and Reed's investment, specifically Al Heyman could stay on and still run the company. WME also looking into Top Rank, and nothing really concrete happening this year. So not a major concern at this point. Switching back to that AJ Ruiz card, Callum Smith versus Hassan Dam scheduled for that card as I would assume the co-main event, but I don't know. Leonard Sterling in the chat brought up a good point. What would be the better co-main event? Katie Taylor versus Pearson as the undisputed lightweight champion on the planet for women's boxing, or Callum Smith as sort of his first title defense, his U.S. debut. I've gone back and forth. I think conventional wisdom is Callum Smith. He's not only probably the bigger name. No, he's not. But, I mean, probably the bigger guy in terms of size. I mean, I know some promoters like that. Like they put sort of heavyweights more on the top of the building because they're heavier guys. I don't know if Eddie Hearn and Matchroom are that mentality. Kaylee Taylor's been beloved by Matchroom. She's been pushed heavily by them and Sky. I think they probably make her the co-main event. Plus, her documentary on Netflix is fantastic. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. Really worth the watch. But the rest of this card is fantastic. Just want to highlight it briefly. Andy Ruiz, obviously, is fighting Anthony Joshua. Callum Smith, Hassan Dam. Katie Taylor versus Devon Pearson for the undisputed lightweight championship. Pearson hasn't lost since 2010. Josh Kelly versus Ray Robinson. Love that fight. Even though Ray Robinson's coming off of a draw and a loss, I still like that fight. Chris O'Dre versus Tommy Coyle. Love that fight. Austin Amber Williams on the card. He's a 1-0 prospect, so he's not going to fight anyone good. But like that he's here. Joshua Buatsi is alleged to fight, I think, Marco Antonio Parabon, but that's not official. It's not penciled in on BoxRec, so I don't know what is becoming of that. Maybe there's some commission issues with that, potentially, since Parabon hasn't fought in a couple years. Leonard, I walked that back. Don't worry. I'll walk that back. Moving on, Mike Coppinger saying, sources, The welterweight title unification bout between Errol Spence and Sean Porter, originally penciled in for August 3rd in Brooklyn, is moving to a new date in late summer fall. As always, lots of moving parts with PBC dates. Will still be PBC on Fox in Brooklyn that night. To better explain that, because I guess some people didn't understand what he was saying there. That date, there's still going to be a PBC on Fox event. It just no longer be Spence versus Porter. God knows who's going to be at this point. Maybe that you do Wilder Ortiz on Fox. That would be just dreaming, right? That'd be too nice. But anyways, that Spence Porter fight. God, I really hope they get that figured out. Even if it's on pay-per-view. I'm okay with that fight being pay-per-view. Just get that fight figured out. Get it penciled in this year. There's really no need to prolong that one at all. And if the whispers are true, not really rumors, the whispers are true that the Porter team is just upset that it's not pay-per-view, while Danny Garcia and Mikey Garcia, both guys who have lost respectively to Spence and Porter, are on pay-per-view, and they feel somehow jaded. Just give them pay-per-view. Like, it's worth it. It may not do 400,000 buys, it may do 300,000 buys, but that's still a success. Just do it. Let's be honest here. Another piece of news, and this portion of the show is going to be fun. And I hope Gary's calling in. Gary, are you on the line? Yes, Gary. Awesome. I'm so happy you're on the line, Gary. This fight is 100% for you. I want the in-depth breakdown of this fight, Gary, when you get your call in. Cletus Selden versus Zab Judah. Yes. I don't know why, but this fight to me just screams comedy to me in the greatest way possible, but also like a great sloppy fight. I'm 100% here for this. But yes, Cletus Selden versus Zab Judah, guys. Tell me you're not excited for that fight. Oh my God. We are blessed in this era, guys. We're truly blessed. Speaking out, or I should say shouting out to good friend of the show, Coach Mitty, over in the UK by way of France, the one French champion. Obali making his first title defense after he beat Rashid Warren July 6th in Kazakhstan on an ESPN Plus card with another Kazakhstan MTK signee. I know Obali is not Kazakhstan, but apparently this card's littered with them. That's awesome. Obali, cool. I mean, like I said, shout out to my man, Coach Mitty, who's obviously French, and Obali is the only French world champion in the world right now. And plus, Obali getting some fucking balls right now and calling out Inoue. Ooh. Damn. That should be a fun one, because Obali he can throw down. That Rashid Warren fight was enlightening. But Inoue, that would be too much. Last topic of the day, then we'll go to callers, 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers, Skype, Mixed Combat Radio on Skype. Speaking of ESPN and Top Rank signing Andrew Maloney, and also sort of that division. Good signing, and also Top Rank signing a lot of underrated names recently. Let's see how they do in this sort of arms race for talent with all of the rise of capital that's been thrown in by DAZN, ESPN, Showtime / Fox. ESPN's been struggling, ESPN and Top Rank have been struggling to sort of produce great viewership, great sort of moments in a way. And that really hurts them in some fashion. And it's funny because totally unrelated in a way. Jason Burgos, who was on the show with me last week, talking about Bellator and UFC and why Bellator is sort of struggling. His sort of hypothesis was that Bellator has struggled to make moments, like truly fight of the year moments with big names. Like when they make big fights, the fights don't produce fight of the year moments. Top Rank has sort of had that struggle with their ESPN run, where they've had fight of the year moments, don't get me wrong, but their big fights haven't really produced in any way. Think about it. They had Crawford Khan as pay-per-view. That was never going to produce anything. And that has sort of shot themselves in the foot there by putting on, A, not necessarily the best matchups for their best names, and B, those fights not really producing the best fights. And that's a struggle for Top Rank and ESPN. I don't know how they skirt that. And signing just unheralded talent like Maloney and allegedly Inoue, Obali, sort of all Frank Warren stable with Tyson Fury, Billy Joe Saunders. If that's enough, I don't think so, but they need to start producing some really great fights on top of their big fights, big names, and that's just not happening. Let's go to calls, 323-870-4051, press 1 to get in the queue. International callers, call in on Skype, Mixed Combat Radio on Skype. Gary in Dallas. Gary, what's up?
What's going on, Matt?
What's up, man?
What made you bring up Judah versus Selden? It's just that's still a couple weeks away, isn't it?
I don't know if it's a couple weeks away.
It's June 7th, I think. It's the Hall of Fame weekend. It's up there by the Boxing Hall of Fame. So
look, I saw it in the headlines, Gary, and I know you're a Zab Judah fan, and I thought it was funny. I thought I'd just bring it up.
Not only am I a Zab Judah fan, I am also a Cletus Selden fan. So this is a win-win for me. You're old enough to remember when Zab Judah was in his early 20s, junior lightweight, junior welterweight, looked like he was going to be the next big thing. Are you old enough to have lived that, or was that before your time?
Lived it? No. Am I old enough to have my sister and her friends who are older than me tell me about it and watch highlight clips of it and VHS tapes of it? Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, Judah was supposed to be the thing. He was supposed to knock out Costa Tszyu. He was supposed to be the guy. Obviously, his skills are all there, right? Everything. There's so much good thing about Judah. It's just never really panned out. Again, he had a good career. It just was not what people were expecting when Judah burst on the scene. And Cletus Selden. Look, I'm not saying he's a top-notch fighter. I'm not even saying he's a B-plus fighter. I'm saying he's a throwback in so many ways that he's fun to watch. I mean, would you at least grant that he's fun to watch? He's got a Mickey Ward quality to him.
Who, Selden?
Yeah.
I mean, Mickey Ward's. I mean that's hyperbolic, right? You know that.
I never said on a quality where his fights are fun. Not that he's the best fighter we've seen, but his fights are entertaining.
Yeah, his fights are fun.
Okay. Again, I don't know. Let's say Judah wins. Let's say Judah schools him and gets a late stoppage or wins on point by 190 decision or gets a late stoppage. Dominates Selden. What does that do for Judah? It doesn't put him back in the picture at 140, right?
No, God no. God no.
Okay, but let's say Selden. Let's flip it around. Let's say Selden knocks Judah out in the first round. What does that do? That doesn't put Selden back in the picture.
Look, unfortunately, in the reality, I could definitely see the winner of this fight going on to fight Jose Ramirez on ESPN Plus main event. Come on, you telling me that Bob Arum wouldn't love to make Jose Ramirez versus Zab Judah on ESPN Plus?
I mean, probably.
Is it competitive? No, but Bob Arum would make it.
Does Judah have any name appeal left anymore? You think, what are you, 42 now?
No, God no.
Does he have any appeal left?
God no.
Okay.
No. The appeal that he has is to mid-40s, mid-50-year-old men who harken back to the 90s and early 2000s of boxing. Roy Jones is their TBE. Those guys. That's who Zab Judah harkens back to. Gets the nostalgia vibes going.
Okay. That's what I thought. So Zab Judah's name doesn't add to a fight anymore. Even if they put it in New York, they put it in Brooklyn. No one's paying to see Zab Judah
maybe. Let's put it this way: Jose Ramirez, Zab Judah in the small theater, they sell out.
Okay. You think so? Judah can still put 5,000 fans in? I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Make it. If they can draw 5,000 in the small room, Judah will get another shot. But he's got to get through Cletus Selden first, which is again, when was the last time Zab Judah fought?
Oh.
It's been years. Like, I saw he was a nurse at a hospital, and then he was stabbing people. Like, when was the last time he actually fought?
That's right. He stabbed someone. Who was that? Was it like DeMarcus Corley or something?
It was Chop Corley.
Oh my God, poor Corley, man. He has done nothing wrong. Yo, he's fought in January.
January of this year?
Yep.
Or January? Okay.
He fought Noel Miha Ricon in Calgary, Canada. Yes.
Yeah, that was January 2018, though.
Oh shit! Yes. No, you're right. Not this year. Last year.
So it's been a year and a half. Yeah.
And then before that, he fought January 2017. Before that, he fought 2013.
Okay, so he's basically fighting once a year, 17, 18, 19. He'll fight once a year. Okay. I mean, I guess he's still active outside of that 4-year layup before that. I guess he's still an active fighter. I don't know. His name was mentioned at one point for Keith Thurman's comeback. That never got off. Maybe he started that rumor, but
I don't think that was ever legit.
I
don't think that was ever legit, though.
Well, okay. He tweeted it, right? He said 6-time world champ, make it 7, and he put the eyes at Keith Thurman or something like that. But I think he just started that rumor.
Yeah, I think that was just Zab just being Zab.
I wanted to. Who said that all knockouts go viral?
Some guy in the chat.
Who said that?
Some guy in the chat.
Okay, no one.
No one
I'm not
important.
trying to say,
no one important.
But no one important.
No.
Because that Sheldon had fought Star Boxing streamed it. I guess just on their website, The Fight Live. His last fight, he scored a vicious knockout, like a vicious knockout. How many people do you think saw that?
I didn't. I do this.
Like,
I get paid to cover this shit. I didn't see it.
There was probably the best knockout I've seen all year on a UFC Fight Pass card, a Roy Jones Jr. card. Kid named Harry Arredondo, 4-0 prospect, 122-pounder. Landed his left hook that took the kid's head off. One of the best knockouts I've seen all year. How many people do you think saw that?
Like maybe a couple hundred tops.
Maybe a couple hundred? A couple hundred? Okay.
Wait, how many? Hold on. How many people were in attendance?
In that fight in San Antonio, the fight on the Fight Pass?
Yeah.
It was in San Antonio, so it probably did a decent number, probably 2,000.
Oh, then they got 2,000 people.
No one watched it.
Sorry, 2001. Gary, you're the one.
Yeah, I watched that. Am I the only fight fan, the boxing fan, that pays the $10 a month for the UFC Fight Pass?
You have to be, Gary. Because I'll put it this way, Gary, I pay for Fight Pass. I don't even watch those cards.
The thing is, Roy Jones has Ashton Flickday under contract, who's one of my favorite fighters, period.
But he's not fighting on every card.
What was that?
He's not fighting.
I know.
Okay.
I used to just get the free trial and then cancel, and get the free trial and then cancel. And then they had a kid from San Antonio named Kendo Castaneda, who's a really good prospect. Another 140-pound prospect from San Antonio, who I think is really good. So I'll just keep it now. It's $10 a month. Like, they give me one card at least every month. I don't know. I'll just keep it. I don't like doing that thing where I cancel after every free trial. Like, I feel like that's like a scumbag thing to do. Either pay for the service or don't use it. So I'm just keeping it. Like, I think some of the prospects Rory has will work out, and he's got a lot of Texas prospects. So I'll support my local fighters and pay the $10 a month. Like, and he's got Politte's fighting Ioka on that app in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
A good fight.
That is a good fight.
Yeah, so the all knockouts go viral thing. The only knockouts that I can think of in recent memory that have gone viral immediately was Marquez Pacquiao, Stavern, the second fight, Wilder Stavern 2, and then the Breazeale fight. So it's either Manny Pacquiao getting knocked out or Deontay Wilder. I can't think of any other knockouts, in recent memory at least, that have gone viral among, casual sports fans. So I don't know why Wilder doesn't do bigger numbers, right? Like the Stavern knockout.
Mm-hmm.
That was like Stavern became an internet meme, right? Like there was like
Yeah.
that thing went viral.
Yeah.
Why? I don't want to say 791,000 is a bad number because relatively it's not bad. If Charlo does that next month, Showtime would go crazy, right?
And
They
again,
would love that.
the peak with internet streaming numbers for Showtime Anytime was 990,000 for the main event.
Right. So you can't say it's bad. It's definitely not bad.
It's not
if
great.
any other fighter on Showtime did those numbers, Showtime would love it. It's just not what you were. It's low for what you were expecting.
It's low for Wilder, who's literally the number one star on PBC right now.
Why is that? Like, why do you think that number was as low? I don't want to say bad because it's not a bad number compared to every other fight on Showtime. So I don't want to say it's a bad number.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to that. Why was it not higher?
Yeah, and also for like retrospect, like this is like also like on par for like even the 791,000 numbers on par with like Adrian Broner's best numbers. So like
Right.
this is still still good. It is. It's just for Wilder it is mediocre. And in that context, in a very hyper specific context with himself. It's like for Mayweather doing a 400,000 pay-per-view buy rate. That's mediocre for Mayweather. But for other people that's great.
Right.
That's sort of that comparison, even though it's not a one-to-one comparison. I think why this number wasn't great is A, it was such a quick fight. That does hurt it. B, I feel like while there is a general buildup of hype and sort of awareness about Wilder, there wasn't really about this fight or Breazeale. Like, this was a stepping stone in a lot of people's mind, even the hardcore's mind. And on top of that, as it's shown in the aftermath, I think there's an obvious understanding in the new age, in the new fandom, that, especially with a guy like Wilder, you can probably catch the fight on IG or something right afterwards.
So you don't think it's some kind of protest from fight fans since the top three heavyweights aren't going to fight each other? We're not going to watch them.
No. I don't think it's a protest. No.
So you don't think because both Fury and AJ have fights coming up in the next month or so, a couple weeks. You don't think their numbers are going to be low for their standards? I know it's tough with DAZN because they don't really release numbers, but like if they did, you don't think AJ's numbers would be lower than typical and Fury's numbers will be lower than typical? Like there's some kind of protest against heavyweights until they fight each other?
I don't think that happens at all. I don't think that happens at all. Maybe Fury because his fight's on ESPN Plus, I believe. Fight's not on ESPN. And that opponent is truly dreadful. Like, there might be backlash for that one because of that opponent, but that's more so of Fury, not so much of, these all three guys aren't fighting each other. Let's protest them all. I think the AJ fight is going to do better numbers than the Povetkin fight for DAZN. I know Forbes came out, I think, last month, and we reported it, that did worldwide for DAZN, like 1 million concurrent live streams.
Okay.
I think it's probably going to do better than that for this time. It's a U.S. debut. I think Andy Ruiz is a decent opponent. The card's really good. And again, I think it being in the U.S. is going to actually help it more so than hurt it for DAZN viewership, obviously. But no, I think it's fine. I don't think there's protest at all. If there was, then why did this knockout go viral? Did everyone in protest still watch it a million times? I think people watched it, and if they didn't, they just catched it on social media afterwards.
The reason why, Wilder's last two fights on Showtime, which would be the Stavern rematch and Luis Ortiz, they both did over 1 million live viewers, right? Mm-hmm. They both hit over 1 million?
Yeah.
I feel like Wilder is a bigger star now than he was then. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to find a reason for why, but I guess you hit on why that number came in. Again, I don't want to call it a bad number because it's not a bad number. Why it came in lower.
And then again, like you can even say, Gary, you can even like give the haters the fucking rope. Like, yeah, this number is bad for Wilder. Like you can say that, but then the full context with actual like intelligence and nuance, you say, no matter what, it was a net positive because the knockout went so viral and so quickly afterwards. So no matter what, tens of millions of people saw this fight.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Which can. It's just not going to help him at the negotiating table because you know if he sits down with Eddie or Bob for a rematch with Tyson Fury, they're going to hold that number over his head, and he can say, "I
don't think so.
Whatever."
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, because you can go back and say on your network's YouTube page, I have over 1 million views.
It's true. That's true.
Like this fight's on Sky Sports or Sky Boxing YouTube page or whatever, and it has over 1 million views. So in today's age, internet numbers count, especially if you're Eddie and you're DAZN and AJ. Your argument can't be we're not going to count internet or streaming numbers. Like that's fundamentally a very bad argument.
No, I agree. I agree. But it's just Bob Arum's 300 years old. Do you think I guess he gets it, right? Like he has the ESPN Plus streaming.
If Bob Arum doesn't get it, because he might not, I think he probably doesn't. I think there's enough people around him that do. Like Todd DeBuff, I think he gets it. Callum Reddy, I think he gets it. Like there's certain people in that organization that get it. ESPN as a whole, Bob Iger, Disney, ABC, they all seem to get this whole streaming era and the how it is the future. So no, I think everyone's on sort of the same page. I don't think they're gonna. I think Eddie Hearn, I think he will come in to the negotiation table and not use this number at all as sort of a leverage point against Wilder. It would be such a stupid point.
So you think a 50-50 offer with Wilder? I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that.
I'll just say it. You don't have to say it. I'll just say it. You don't have to say it. I'll just say it because look, Gary, it's just me on the show. And why not? Like fuck it. No, I think Wilder for some time now has been deserving of a 50-50 offer from AJ. This fight does nothing to change that.
Okay, so all right, that's what I was going to say. It doesn't make his stock go up or down. It's still okay.
No, not at all.
50-50.
No, not at all.
Okay. Oh, then the Porter, the Sean Porter and Errol Spence unification fight. That's not what was the news on that? That's not happening now, or are they changing the date, or what happened?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the beginning of that because I missed what?
Sorry. The Spence Porter unification fight.
Spence Porter is no longer on that August 3rd date for PBC on Fox. It is being moved to the fall or the winter. It has not been said whether it will stay a Fox event or will go to pay-per-view. However, that August 3rd date will stay a PBC on Fox event, and it will just be a new main event, whatever they figure out.
Okay, so Spence and Porter are still going to fight. They're just fighting later in the year.
Allegedly.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes.
Allegedly. Okay. Spence said he wanted to fight in the summer. But we'll see. You want to bet we get Tank Davis versus Yuri Gamboa on that August 3rd date? You want to bet that fight they move?
Please don't. Please don't. No.
I'm telling you, I would put my money that that's the fight we get.
I have a feeling.
I know Gamboa's fought a bunch of times in New York. I know that. I don't know, and I still think Tank Davis is a draw. But we'll see. What were you going to say?
I think Tank stays a Showtime fighter.
Okay, so if you had to bet of any fight that's rumored or what, who do you think will fight on that August 3rd date?
A couple fights come to mind. Wilder, Ortiz. They could really make a push for that. I could see Heyman pushing for that. Maybe not Showtime or like certain other people, but I could see Heyman and Wilder pushing for that fight on Fox. What else? Maybe like a Leo Gary Russell unification. That could make sense. That's probably about it.
If it's that fight, either of those two fights, I'm great with, right? Like the Ortiz rematch isn't the most compelling thing because I feel like it's just going to look like the first fight. But the good news is it can look like the first fight, which was a good fight. I just think we already know who the winner is. I don't think Ortiz can do anything differently in a rematch. I don't think he can get on the inside. And if he can't get on the inside, he'll eventually get knocked out.
And plus, Wilder on free TV is always a good thing.
It's always a good thing. Always. So I'm fine with that. And the Russell, Leo Santa Cruz, Gary Russell fight that'd be great. I'm down for that. So let's hope you're right and it's not Tank Davis versus Gamboa, but I would bet that it's that fight.
Who else out there could sort of main event those cards though? I mean, the welterweight division's sort of tied up, it seems. So all those names are off the table. Plant has a fight already like the month prior. So he's not going to do it. He's already main eventing a Fox card. There are not a lot of other names you could do.
They have for Marcus Brown, but you don't think who's from New York, but you don't think that he's ready to headline a card, right? Like,
no, not a Fox card. I mean, maybe what we see is maybe like a J-Rock title defense or something like that. I don't know. It depends on the turnaround, but maybe they try to do the Jared Hurd rematch then. That would be a quick turnaround, but maybe then.
Yeah.
Something you still need some sort of marquee fight or marquee name, and I don't think Marcus Brown is that yet.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm just trying to think of because both the Charles will fight in June, so they wouldn't turn around and get fight in August. So they're out. Like, what other big names would they want to use to headline a card? Obviously, Wilder would make the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's not it, then you look at something like who would they use to headline? Gary Russell Jr. versus Santa Cruz would be good, but the only other name that doesn't have a fight coming up before that is Tank Davis. So that's why I put that name there. I don't want that fight. I'm just thinking that's what.
Oh, we're forgetting someone. Adrian fucking Broner.
Broner versus Barrios. Can we do that?
No, Broner versus Brodo, man. I'm telling you, that's the fight they're going to make. Get hyped, man. Get hyped. Get hyped. You know it's awesome.
Everything that you thought of Linares, I thought of Andre Berto a decade ago. 10 years ago.
I'm sorry.
2008, 2009. I thought that guy was
I know your pain.
Yeah. I was like, that's the guy that's going to beat Pacquiao. That's the guy that's going to beat Mayweather. That's the guy.
That's
he has
the guy.
A couple loose ends, but that speed and athleticism, that's the future of boxing. That did not work out.
Damn. Man, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
I feel your pain, Gary. I know that.
You look at Berto, right? And the natural ability, the power punching, the combination, the hand speed, the foot speed, it looks so good. But then it's just like, I don't know. It never came together. He'd hang out against the ropes, lose rounds, get knocked out by Andre Berto. Get knocked out by Robert. Did he get knocked out by Guerrero? He did get knocked out by Guerrero, right?
No, that was a unanimous decision. He went down in the first and second rounds.
Okay. I remember he got beat up bad by Robert Guerrero. But he did.
No, you're thinking of the Karras fight. You're thinking of the Karras fight where he got knocked down like the last round.
Okay. And Berto's just never panned out. That's really all I got.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Always appreciate the calls, man.
Sure.
Let's go out to Zulu on the Skype machine.
Salute, Matt. How y'all doing today? How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
All right. I see you on your game today, man. I can't even find nothing to debate with you about today, man. You in there training for the debate. I couldn't find that. You really on point today, man. With what I wanted to try to discuss a little bit today. But I do want to talk about Andy Ruiz and AJ fight coming up. Right. I want to talk about the Ruiz situation as far as and AJ. What is it going to take for AJ to really become that star in America right now? How does he have to perform in this fight with Ruiz? Because, I asked the question earlier about, you don't really see any press about them two. You don't see them together facing off and things like that. I don't know if that's a strategic move. And you made great sense when you responded to that. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's like they're kind of not wanting to show, because AJ even standing next to Ruiz looks like a mismatch. To me, I believe it's going to even look like a mismatch. But what does AJ have to do? We know he's going to win, but what does he have to do to really, in this particular fight, to really say now for the Americans to really accept him as a champion, not only a UK champion, but a world champion?
There's probably nothing he can do, to be honest. Like, the unfortunate truth is like, this is not the fight that's going to make him the star in the U.S. I think the Miller fight was a better fight. The dynamic between them was a far better one to achieve that for the casual fan base. Plus, that one had more media hype, more media build behind it. They were more willing to push and put out money and capital to put them on marketing and media tours. For Ruiz, like you said, they're not doing that. Even though the reasons make sense because it's short notice and it's only 2 weeks away. However, it makes sense even from a standpoint of you already saying it. Like, the way Ruiz looks from a casual standpoint will always sort of hurt him in that stance. Even though we know Ruiz is a top 15, top 20 heavyweight, it just doesn't matter, unfortunately. And even then, I think AJ could come out here and get a first-round knockout and look fantastic. It go viral. But I don't know if that really makes him a star. I don't know if it's that. I think really the only thing that's going to make him a star in the U.S., especially a superstar, to use that word more specifically, is beating Wilder. Is you need to have some actual activity with that rivalry other than just talk. Because the talk does register. Casuals are aware of an AJ Wilder beef, even if it's just the UK heavyweight and the US heavyweight, in a very broad, general sense like that. They're aware of it. But we need an actual fight. And until then, I don't know if he really achieved superstar status anyway in the U.S.
Right. Now, let me ask you, and I agree with you 100%. Now, I don't believe Dillian White is the answer. I believe Luis Ortiz is more the answer in this certain perspective than Dillian White would be. Him rematching Dillian White doesn't do much for him in the U.S., I don't think. I think Ortiz does more for him in the U.S. Is it a fight? It's a fight. I pick AJ to win. You know, I don't think any other heavyweight can beat him. But
Zulu,
Wilder.
Let me switch up the question there, or at least the way we look at it. 'Cause I agree that Ortiz does more for AJ than Ruiz, White, etc. However, does it do what you asked originally? Does it help AJ achieve superstar status? And I sort of want your thoughts on that because you're obviously a fan about the sport. You're an American fan too. You really embody that. So does that even do that? Even though it is more, it's a better way to do it than White. It's a better opponent than Ruiz, and probably even Miller in some aspect. However, does it even still do that? Does it achieve him superstar status? Does the Ortiz fight do that?
And I think it depends on how he would win that fight. Let's hypothetically say he goes in there with Ortiz and knocks him out cold in the second round, third round, or does it even faster than Wilder did, and more impressively, where he's on the canvas knocked out. Then I believe that attention would sway. American attention would sway. It would be something that you cannot overlook. Knocking Luis Ortiz out impressively is something that, honestly, you can't just overlook, and especially doing it better than what Wilder did. And I know, from a hardcore perspective, that kind of holds a little value, but from a casual perspective, that holds a lot of value. Mm-hmm. And you made a great point about the numbers that Wilder got, 990. It's not bad. It's close. It's getting close to the million. But when you factor in the fact that particular knockout went viral, and you add those numbers together, we're talking about eyes on the fighter and popularity, right? Mm-hmm. That blows. I mean, that makes that. I mean, those numbers kind of. It makes them not mean as much overall. If you add the viral, the part of the numbers that went viral to that particular number, you're talking a lot of numbers there. But if Ortiz was to get knocked, AJ would knock out Ortiz in a spectacular fashion like that, that would go viral. Would you believe? You agree with that?
Yeah, but Wilder has some advantages to have that viral moment, have some sustaining power. A, he's already American. B, he's been fighting in the U.S. for a long time. Been fighting on Fox, been fighting on NBC, Showtime. He's fought everywhere. And people know him in some aspect. So when we see it, when it goes viral in the U.S. and you have casuals see it, they vaguely know who that guy is. When AJ does it have the sustaining power? That is still a question mark. So I don't know. And again, I don't know if an Ortiz fight registers in the same way. I just don't.
Right.
I think.
And I agree.
think.
I just kind of threw that out there to see how what you thought about that. I don't think it would make him an automatic star, but it would definitely put his foot in the right place.
It would help. Definitely help.
Yeah, and I don't see any other fighter that you can use other than Ortiz really doing what we're suspecting, him to do in order to gain that popularity. That would be sufficient enough to say, oh, wow, this man here is becoming an American household name as well, because the same fighter that our American champion fought to did knock out, but it was almost knocked out himself. AJ wiped him out in 1 or 2 rounds. That has to be kind of considered, but it's still, like you said, I don't know if that would be enough, but I think it would be a step in the right direction. Mm-hmm. But I'm really looking for that fight to be for AJ to really go there and make a statement. I really hope he can make a statement in this fight, not just go, because it's going to look bad if he goes to a decision with Ruiz. I mean, honestly, from a boxing perspective, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's younger. Well, I don't know if he's younger. I think he is a little younger than Ruiz. Ruiz is in his 30s, right?
I don't know. They're about the same age, probably.
Yeah, they might be around the same age, whatever it may be. But he's the bigger, stronger, faster fighter. Seem like when faster, talking about foot movement and everything else. His hands may not be as fast as Ruiz, but he's totally at a mismatch here physically. He should really make a statement with this guy. And that's what I'm looking for him to do. Because I like AJ. I'm looking for him to really make this statement, and I'm hoping he can. So, but I don't want to beat a dead horse on that. But there's some people in the chat were saying that Spence Porter is not a pay-per-view. Why? I don't see why that wouldn't be a pay-per-view. I think it would be. I think it would be successful too. What about you?
I think it would be a good pay-per-view. But it originally was not scheduled to be pay-per-view. So when they reschedule it, I think it will leave sort of a bad taste in some fans' mouth when they do eventually make a pay-per-view. Because you first tell us this great fight is on Fox, and then you bait and switch, and you're going to put something else on that date, and you now put Spence Porter on pay-per-view with a $75 price tag. I think consumers at this point are a little bit stressed on cash in this marketplace right now. That's going to bother some people, and maybe a lot of people.
All right. And I agree with that. I would like it to be on Fox, personally. Mm-hmm. I would like it to be a free fight, but I'm saying it is a pay-per-view style fight.
Yeah.
Some people in the chat were saying it's not a pay-per-view style fight because they just think Spence is going to run over Porter. I think it's a style fight, actually. I think it's not going to be as easy as like with Mikey Garcia. With Spence, I think Porter is going to be a little bit harder because his style. He's got a gritty kind of style, and it may cause for in a fight like that, anything can happen, man. Sean kind of leads with that head sometimes, head butts, cuts. Could be a little bit more gritty than we probably think it is. What you think about that?
I agree. I definitely agree at that point. I think it should be a fun back and forth affair. I think I've always been high on Porter, more so than a lot of people. I know he didn't look good in his last fight, and honestly, he hasn't looked good in a couple of his recent fights. Like the Adrian Granado's fight, he didn't look good in. He said he has a hand injury in that fight. Said he had an injury in this last fight as well with Ugas. Hopefully, either the injuries aren't a big deal, because otherwise the issue then becomes Porter has some hand injuries or some hand issues. And for a boxer, that's like a fucking life sentence, man. Like, you cannot have hand issues. So I do worry about that in some aspect. But I still love the fight. I still think it should be a fun, action-packed fight. And if I have to pay $75 for it, I've paid for worse.
Right. Yeah, right. I would pay for it if I had to, but I don't want to. Of course, we don't want to have to. Mm-hmm. But it's a pay-per-view worthy kind of fight.
Like, I put it this way: the Danny Garcia, Mike Garcia fight, that's not pay-per-view worthy. Like, that's not worth the $75.
But it's a fun fight, though.
Yeah, like if that's on Fox, if that was on Showtime, worth it. I'm good with that fight. Not for $75 for that fight alone.
Yeah, hey man, I think Danny wins that fight.
Probably, I agree.
Yeah, pretty good one. Well, that's all I got, brother Matt. Once again, man, salute to you, man. You're doing a hell of a job. Continue, brother. I salute what you're doing and the entire MCR team, brother. Be blessed. Take care.
Thank you, Zulu. Always appreciate it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for today. A quick one because Rob's in the chat, lurking. Doesn't want to jump on the show. I get it. Whatever. I'm not hurt. But anyways, everyone have a great day, great night, great evening, wherever you're listening. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. $1 a month gets you extra content every week. I think me and Fu should be doing a Game of Thrones podcast tomorrow. And I think that one's going to be free, actually. We're going to put that one for free, live. Wrap up the season. Man, was that controversial. Oh, God. I don't want to talk about it, but we have to. Plus championship round was supposed to be today, but I moved it to tomorrow. So tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific time, championship rounds live on patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. If you're not a Patreon member, you can still listen to the show live, absolutely free. Call in 323-870-4051. You can just listen in. Same with Skype. You can just listen in, but you don't get the podcast feed and you don't get the video feed, obviously. But you can still get the show live, 1 p.m. Pacific. Leave your questions and topics in our community post on YouTube and on Patreon. Like I said, have a great day. Find me, Mount Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Peace.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Stay off the weed.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
You piece of shit. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?